statement before I introduce her, Brian?
Let me go ahead and do the mission statement. I'll get out of your way.
Okay.
Helping Parents Heal is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting bereaved parents to become shining light parents by providing support and resources to aid in the healing process. We go a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and evidence for the afterlife in a non-dogmatic way. Affiliate groups welcome everyone regardless of religious or non-religious background and allow for open dialogue. Attendance today at the Helping Parents Heal meeting is voluntary, and we are here for the benefit of learning from and sharing with other parents whose children have passed away. It is understood that our discussions are intended to be confidential and are not designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers to allow parents to be informed about many possible ways to heal, to connect with their children, and to learn about the afterlife. The views expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect those of Helping Parents Heal, and we ask that you take from the presentations whatever may benefit you personally.
Thank you, Brian. And our next guest, as all of you know, was going to be a keynote speaker at this conference. She was a keynote speaker at the last conference as well. We call her Messenger of Hope. She's absolutely amazing. So let me just quickly read her bio. Suzanne Giesemann is a messenger of hope, a mystic, medium, and author of 13 books. Whether in her books, audio recordings, her classes and workshops, her weekly radio show, or her one-on-one sessions, Suzanne provides stunning evidence of life after death and shows others how to connect across the veil, which is what we all want to do. She is a former U.S. Navy commander who served as a commanding officer and an aide to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Suzanne's gift of communication with those on the other side has been recognized as highly credible by noted afterlife researchers. She brings messages of hope, healing, and love that go straight to the heart. To learn more about her, and maybe Brian, you can put this on the sidebar, visit her website at www.suzannegiesemann.com. It's Suzanne with a Z. Giesemann, Giesemann, but I'm sure Brian will put it up there. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce an incredible healing force in my own life and in the lives of so many parents of Helping Parents Heal, Suzanne Giesemann.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Brian. Thanks everybody for joining us here tonight. What a nice turnout. Before we go much further, the best thing we can do to connect with our loved ones who have passed is to think of someone or something that we love, to raise our vibration, to think of something we're grateful for. And I thought it would be a really great idea to start this evening by giving everybody a real heart opener, just to start us off on the same page. I have something guaranteed to open your heart right now.
Oh, yes, yes. She's adorable.
And she's an English cream dachshund. She's our new little baby because her sister Gretchen passed Christmas Day, and nobody can replace Gretchen, but she's kind of filling a little hole in our heart. And so we thought you'd like to meet her.
She's adorable.
What's her name?
It's Nellie. It's Nellie, but I call her Yoda.
Oh.
When she leans backwards to look at me, her ears flop backwards. She looks like Yoda from Star Wars. All right. Thank you, sweetie. And there's Ty. Well,
Hi, Ty.
if that didn't just make everybody's heart just open up wide, I don't know what will. Well, actually, I know what will, and it's what I hope to do this evening is to give all of you a bit of hope. I listened to Elizabeth, and she's just bright and cheerful, and she's smiling, and I'm smiling, and I know that there are a lot of you out there who don't feel like smiling and don't know if you'll ever smile again. And that's the beautiful part about this group, is that everybody's at a different place on this journey that we don't want to be on. But And I say we because I'll go into my background in just a little bit of time here. But I'm hoping that it's those of us who are smiling that lets you know that that is possible. But it's not just telling you that. My goal tonight is to share with you evidence from our kids across the Veil. I'm not going to be doing readings tonight, but I've tried that with the large group, and online it just doesn't work real well for me. It's a little confusing. So I'm going to share some of my favorite stories of connecting with our kids across the Veil. And I even have a couple video clips from actual readings that I know will just do what Nellie just did for you, open your heart and leave you feeling more uplifted than we started. That's always the goal, and let it carry over. So my background, you heard the official bio there, you know, have the Navy background. And so that gives me the creds, I hope, so that when you listen to me, you don't just think I'm some flaky person that says, yeah, I talk to people who have passed. I used to doubt that people could talk to people who have passed. And then my stepdaughter, Susan, was struck and killed by lightning in 2006. And it was the worst thing we could ever imagine. And I don't have to go into what that's like for everybody. To witness my husband's pain, to be up close and personal with that was far, far worse than anything I'd ever experienced. Even though I was up close and personal on 9/11 at the Pentagon, nothing could compare with having our daughter and my stepdaughter pass. I need you all to understand, if you haven't heard my story before, that I had no idea there was even an afterlife when Susan passed. I didn't know I was going to be a Navy officer. I didn't know I was going to be a medium. I knew I was going to be a Navy officer since I was in high school. But Ty tells people he married a Navy officer. That's what I meant to say, not a medium. And this ride that we've been on has been pretty wild, because once Susan passed, it became my mission to find out if there is an afterlife, because I just knew after Susan passed that she couldn't be gone. Just like I know, you know, your kids are still around you. You know it, your soul knows it, your heart knows it. And so I will tell you a little bit about how to connect with them a little bit better as we go through the evening. But I never had any idea growing up, or in my whole time, my full career in the Navy, did I have any idea that I would be talking to people who have passed. And the connection now has opened up so beautifully that every day is a blessing. Every day is a gift. And just because I know beyond a shred of a doubt, I know more than I know anything else that there is an afterlife. I know it like I know my own name. I guarantee you, your kids are still with you. The title of one of my books is Still Right Here, because they are. And we'll talk about what that means to be right here. They, you know, yes, they're in heaven, but heaven is here. So we'll talk about that. So I was disappointed, like all of you, that the conference had to be postponed. I was so looking forward to sharing my keynote, and I know I will at some point. And it's so full of stories that I have kept secret for a year. Stories from readings that I've given that were just over the top wonderful. But I thought they're so good, we'll share them and we'll knit them all together in my presentation for the conference. So I sat on some of them for a year. Now I have to sit on them some more, but oh well, I guess you'll just have to wait. They're just wonderful. But the beautiful part about being a medium is I am never at a shortage for beautiful evidence-filled stories to share with you of how our kids love to let us know they're still around. In fact, I just did a reading last week and have permission to share that one with you tonight. So you'll just have to wait for the keynote, but it is called One Big Web. Why? Because this is the one thing I want you to understand. Our kids, when we hold meetings like this, they're together across the veil. So think about your child has met all kinds of friends who are the children of friends of yours here now who are shining light parents. The web is so apparent how they're doing things together. I know it sounds crazy, but I have proof of it. I hesitated. Do I use the word proof? Yes, I do. But you'll have to wait for my keynote for that. But it's just to show how it's just beautiful how they are together. They influence us. They let us know things that are going on. So why don't I share with you some of my favorite bits of evidence? Some of you have heard some of these stories. I went way back in my notes. I've been doing readings now for 11 years. And one of my very favorites was bringing through a young son, 16 years old, named Tristan. I thought about this long before, I've been doing readings long before Helping Parents Heal even came to be. And when did Helping Parents Heal start, Elizabeth? Oops, got to unmute yourself now. There we go.
Helping Parents Heal started in 2009. So, but
Okay.
it was called by another name. And then it really it became a nonprofit in 2012. So
Yeah.
it might've been before 2012, yeah.
Yeah, so never even heard of the organization when I started doing readings, and now always doing readings for Shining Light parents have always been my favorite. They're the hardest to do because we're dealing with such tough emotions, but they're the most rewarding because I know how it changed our family's life when a medium brought through our Susan to us. That started my whole journey of opening up to all of this. So the first one that I wanted to share again with this young man named Tristan, who was 16, and he showed me that he passed in a car accident, and he showed me that he was alone and went around a curve too fast. He talked about turkeys, wild turkeys walking through his family's backyard in the last couple days, and his mother said, yes, his sister just saw those wild turkeys and she wondered if he somehow sent them. And so that's my very first example of showing you that our kids know what's going on in our lives. I'm never satisfied in a reading until they tell me a current event so that I can say, you see, they're around you. They know what's going on in your life. They're still part of your life, even if we can't see them. In fact, it's so much a part of my readings that just yesterday, I can't remember what the relationship was of the person in the spirit world, but they said something and talked about knowing what was going on in their loved one's life. And I silently said to him, well, prove it, meaning give me something. And I said, well, your loved one just said that you just had to clean up broken glass. And she looked really shocked and she said, yeah, I did. And it's just these simple little things. We're not talking major things like you moved or you're selling the car or the house. Little things like I dropped and broke a glass. They even know what we're thinking, which might scare some people, but they do. And in the case of Tristan, in that one reading, he said, tell my mom it's okay if she talks to my picture. And what happened was just before the reading, his mom had picked up his picture. He even described the frame it was in. She looked at it and she said, Tristan, you're probably going to tell the medium that I shouldn't talk to you anymore. So what does that tell you? They hear you when you talk to them. You don't even have to talk out loud. They hear you when you think of them. They drop in on you spontaneously and when you call upon them because they're still interested, very interested in the family's life. I know that Tracy's in on the meeting tonight, right? Yeah. Yeah. Her son, Eamon, has done a wonderful job of showing current events. And if any of you have listened to my past talks with Helping Parents Heal, the first thing he showed me that was so funny about knowing what was going on during a drop-in, this was after the reading that I gave to Tracy, was he talked to me about the tooth fairy. And 2 days earlier, Tracy had found Eamon's baby teeth and texted her daughters about the tooth fairy. So there's no other explanation for that. When I feel his presence and he drops in, I'm not even talking to Tracy, and he drops in to tell us these things. Then I recently did a reading for Tracy again, and it's funny because as an evidence-based medium, those in the spirit world know if it's your first reading, you got to tell me how you passed, what your likes and dislikes are. If you work, what kind of work did you do? And who's in the family. There's a whole bunch of stuff that they just automatically tell me what's going on now in their loved one's life because that's the way I work. And my guides know to tell them, look, you're going to sit with Suzanne, you got to tell her this and this and this. And they do. But so now I've already done a reading for Tracy. I already know these things about Eamon. So what's he going to talk about? Well, the same thing he'd talk about if he'd been off on a trip for a while. He's going to sit down and talk about what's new and what you've been up to. And he wanted to show Tracy that he knew so many things going on in the family's life. And by the way, any stories that I share here, I always have the permission to share these. And Tracy was more than eager to share some of the things. Eamon talked about his sister. He's aware of what's going on in his sister's life. And one sister who had been complaining, I said, she must be exercising more than normal, because he says, you know, she's complaining about sore muscles. And Tracy sent me later validation, a text her daughter had sent her just the day before, complaining about her sore muscles from working out. And the other sister, I said, she must be taking voice lessons. And he says, that's a good thing, like almost sarcastically, like she needs them. And in fact, his other sister had just been thinking about taking voice lessons. He showed me snakes in the yard, snakes around Tracy's house, and he showed me her out on the front porch sweeping and kind of freaked out about snakes, and she had just had that experience. So again, these very normal things, everyday things in your lives, your kids know about these because they are always part of your family. And there's no way that I, as just a normal person, would know these things, but you shift your focus to the spirit world, they're right here to share those things with us. Let's see, I'm looking there at Brian Smith on the screen, and I saw Ty a minute earlier. I see Shayna's beautiful picture behind him, and I just love talking to Shayna. I was in their house to film something last year. I needed an internet, and we were going through Ohio, and they beautifully let me use their house and internet for that. And Shayna just dropped in and told us several things, current events going on in their life. And in fact, I remember saying, she's showing me her sister pulling at her hair like this, pulling at her hair. And her sister had just taken the braids out of her hair. I think that was what that was all about. But I remember Shayna at one point showing me this glass ball that's hanging in the kitchen. It was a gift from her volleyball team. And she pointed at it and she said, there's a little crack right in the top of it. And Brian went and he pulled it down. How could that possibly be? And it was right there. These are the kind of things that we don't even see, but they see because they have this perspective now that we didn't have. And it's very cool. One of my very favorite stories, of course, having to do with the higher perspective is when Irene Buvalides' daughter, Carly, came through, and I was sharing things she was saying with Irene. And I said, Carly just said there's a dog treat under your couch right now. And we couldn't believe that was so. Went downstairs, and sure enough, even though there were 3 dogs running around the house, none of them had been aware of what Carly could see with her X-ray vision, that there was indeed a dog treat under the couch. I think my favorite thing from Carly was when I was bringing her through to Irene, and Carly crossed her arms and she says, I'm not a prima donna, just like that. And I said, Irene, what's that all about? Just the Sunday before, Irene had been leading her chapter of Helping Parents Heal, and her wonderful husband, Tony, was there. And they were talking about Carly to the members of the group. And Tony said, yeah, well, Carly was a bit of a prima donna. So this is what I mean. Watch what you say. Watch what you think, because it's like having a bunch of spies in a good way. You know, what I've been shown by those across the veil is that they have nothing to hide, and they can't hide it because we don't speak in words across the veil. All is known because we can read each other's energy field, which is what a medium does. We're reading the energy field, but we're communicating telepathically without words, which is why a medium can converse with somebody who doesn't speak English. It comes through and is translated in the medium's mind in English. That's why we can talk to animals and they speak to us in our language. But across the veil, you can't hide anything. So if you have something to hide here, that's just a lesson for us, isn't it? What do we have to hide? What are we hiding? What are we ashamed of? There's nothing across the veil that people are ashamed of. We realize this life is all about love. And so great lessons to be had there. Let's see. I think this is a good time. I'm going to try the video thing, because I've been talking about how our loved ones know what we're thinking about, and they know current events. So I'm going to share with you a reading that I did recently for Aaron and Brian Lennon. You'll see them on the screen. You'll feel Brian's emotion when a memory comes up of his current son, Connor, talking about seeing. You might not be able to understand exactly what he's saying here, so I want to tell you what you're going to see. That Ethan is their son who passed. And Ethan talks about knowing his brother misses him. And his brother had just told his dad that he saw two brothers, and it made him sad thinking about his brother being across the veil. I didn't know this, but Ethan did, and you'll see how he brought it up. So give me a second here to try to pull that video up. I think this is gonna work. There we go. Hopefully the volume will work. So he's making a waxing the car motion and pointing towards you.
Suzanne, you have to select the window that the video is playing in.
Really? I thought I'm looking at it, Brian.
Yeah, when you do share screen, it'll ask you to select the window that you want to share. So
Yeah.
you'll see a list of all your windows you have open. You need to click on that one and share that particular screen.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I clicked it, it started the video, and it's playing. So I don't know how to get it to play without.
So when you click share screen, you should see a window that
Yep.
comes up with a bunch of windows in it, and then you select that particular one.
Yeah, I'm going to try one more time, but
Okay. Yeah, go back. Let's stop your screen sharing.
stop it. Okay.
Yeah, stop the screen share and then start over. And then when you click screen share, you should see a list of windows.
I do, but it's just, all I see is my file explorer, and then I clicked on that and it didn't play. So I'll try it one more time, but if it doesn't work, we'll just have to stop. Tell me within 10 seconds if it's not playing.
Okay, sure.
Like right now, do you see my file explorer?
Yes, I see that.
And so that's what happened was I tried to click that movie.
Well, I tell you what, try starting the video first and then share your screen.
Oh, what a great idea. That's why we have Brian. Okay, so we're gonna stop the share and we'll exit full screen.
Yeah, and then select the video, get it started, and then that'll open up the window that you need to select.
And then, oh my goodness. No, it's not working, Brian. Okay.
Okay, so just pause the video and then go back to share screen.
But the problem is the video player that I have doesn't, oh wait, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Ha, ha, ha. You're so good, Brian. Now I go.
Click on share, and then you should see that window now.
Right. Okay. Share screen. Thanks everybody for your patience. Here we go, I hope. Let me know within 5 seconds, Brian, okay?
Yeah.
Do you see it?
There we go. Now I see it.
Yay. Okay. So that's Brian and Aaron there. Here we go. So, do you hear it? He's making a waxing the car motion and pointing.
We hear it.
You. Did you just recently watch the car, Dad?
Yeah, we do it all the time. It's like, yeah, that is definitely a validation thing.
Nice.
Yeah. Connor is crazy about keeping up with his own car, and Brian taught him that, and so that's a big part.
Nice. He's shown me himself and his brother when they were younger, down on the floors, running around with little cars like kids do. But he's right now on my brother going like this, moving the car around, then pointing at Connor. But he's making this vroom vroom sound as if Connor wants to soup up his car or make it louder, and has talked about that recently.
Oh my God. Yeah. You go ahead.
You couldn't nail that anymore. Connor has 2 cars, one that he saved up to buy and one that we got him, and they are both very loud. And the reason why he got the second car was to be able to soup it up.
If we lived in the same neighborhood, you'd be having us talk with us offline about the sound of his car.
So great. But I love how he got us there, because there's economy of thought here, and by bringing in the 2 of them as kids playing, the whole energy contained in that one image is that
he has such fond memories of playing side by side with his brother and doing boy stuff. And that if he were there physically, he'd be telling his brother what to do and how to do it and stepping in and taking over. But he also is he wants him to know the fact that he knows about that shows he's there non-physically, and he's still putting thoughts in his head, butting in, interfering, trying to show him how to do it. But at the same time, incredibly proud of his brother for doing it himself and just having fun with it.
Connor just shared that Ethan was like worked out a lot, he was physically fit, and Connor doing the same thing. He just shared with me that he saw two brothers together almost home from school, and it just made him sad.
Stressing right now how the most important part of this is he's still so much a part of your family. And he says,
Okay, so that's that. And hang on a sec. Let's see. So we stopped screen share. Did I stop screen share?
Yeah,
Yes.
you did.
Okay, but well, you might have to walk me through that for the second video later on, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Now let's see. I want to go full screen again here. There we go. All right, excellent. Well, I hope you like that. I mean, I always try in my readings to let you know that I'm feeling them. I feel their personality, and boy, that person, Ethan's personality was so clear how he was definitely the big brother, and he was going to tell his little brother what to do. But so proud of him, and so again, just evidence that they know what's going on in our lives. They often talk about things that haven't yet happened. That's kind of hard to validate because we don't know, but my favorite story was I think I've shared this with some Helping Parents Heal groups before, was the young man who said, "Tell my mom I'm sending her owls as a sign." And she shook her head. She said, "No, I don't get owls." And I checked with him and he said, "Yeah, owls." And I kid you not, within a week, Mom opened the front door and an owl flew in the front door, flew up the stairs to her son's bedroom and into the bed, where it stayed for an hour till she finally had to shoo it out the front door. Could you ask for a better sign than that? That one is off the charts. It's amazing. So that's when I, as a medium, learned to trust. When Mom says, "Nope, we don't get owls," I know I can feel her son here. I know what he's telling me, and I have learned to trust. In the beginning, as a baby medium, I would have said, "Well, I must be wrong." But no, once you get to feel these kids, that's why I tell you, I guarantee you they are still with us. So let's see. The signs, we talk about signs a lot as mediums, and I don't think there's a person I brought through from the other side that doesn't try to give us signs, but I hear a lot of parents say, "But I don't see any signs." Well, I hope you'll go and listen to my weekly radio show with Unity Online Radio, the Messages of Hope show. And last week, my guest was Kathy McManus. And, oh, okay. I didn't thank Brian and Aaron. I mentioned them. They're watching tonight. I think they've joined us, at least Aaron did. And I just want to thank you for letting me show that video live. I was just told by your son, he's here and he loves you, and he wanted to make sure that I thanked you. How cool is that? And he's making the Superman action. He's still Superman, Mom, okay? Anyway, so Kathy McManus was my guest. She has two beautiful boys across the veil, and I think Kathy's joining us this evening. But she talked about how she has a wall of miracles. All the signs that she gets, she takes a picture of the sign at the time she notices it, puts it in a frame, and she has it on this wall. It's the most beautiful thing because, I keep a list of miracles in a file in my computer, but when she's feeling down, all she has to go is look at that wall, and there's the reminder that our kids are just so close and working hard to let us know that they're around. So there are a lot of people that seem to not get signs. It's a challenge because you need to trust and be open to this. But I really thought a lot about what could I tell you this evening about why some of us hear from our loved ones and some don't seem to. And I want to be very honest with you and tell you that it's not always as fast as we think it will be, nor will it be as clear as we expect it to be. Sometimes the signs are very subtle when we hear from our loved ones. Sometimes that's very subtle. It was 3 years after Susan passed till I heard from her myself. 3 years. Now, some people say, I can't wait that long. Well, it's worth it. It's definitely worth the wait. But I started meditating the week that she passed, and that's what changed my life. That's what opened up this connection that I have. That's why I know anybody can learn to connect, because we all have a soul and we're connecting soul to soul. But it was the reading with a medium, the one I took my husband to about a year after Susan passed, that really changed my life, because then I could no longer deny that Susan was with us. And that's what really started me opening up. So I recommend to all of you to get a reading with a medium, but meanwhile, continue to try to make that connection yourself. So what if it doesn't happen right away? Why did it take me 3 years? And by the way, we're all unique, so don't think that's the standard. Please don't think that. Some people get visits right away. I guess I was a slow learner. My point being, every one of us is on our own path to remembering who we are. We are all expressions of this incredible creative intelligence that is the source of everything. You can call it many names, but it can't even be described. We're all part of that, and they're here to learn that. And I know that things happen for a reason and don't happen for a reason, with perfect timing. And there's a reason I still don't get names real accurately in readings. There's a reason I don't see the spirits objectively like other mediums. Would I love to? Absolutely. But it keeps me working on me. Because I know that to have a more clear connection, I have to clear out all this human stuff. And that's not the word I would have chosen, but I'm speaking publicly. I got to clean out all the gunk in me first. And I keep finding more and more of it. And as I peel that away, any barrier between me and knowing myself as the light, the more I clear that out, the better my connection. So think about this. When you're new on your journey, the grief is just like this gray blanket around us. That's the first thing we need to work on. The grief is normal, and you can't just wish it away. We need to work on that and come to understand this journey that we're on. And then it just becomes a matter of finding out everything you can about the afterlife and about our purpose in life, and programs like Brian Smith does, and all of these wonderful speakers that Helping Parents Heal has lined up. They all have little bits of the puzzle that help us peel back the layers of our ego, which is not a prideful thing, but our story, the story we came here to tell, but that can also block us from having that clearer connection. The reason I share this is twofold. One, again, to let you know that that's the reason why we don't just all automatically open up to the spirit world. If we did, then why learn any lessons here at all? Why even work on improving ourselves? Why work on being more loving? That's the bottom line, you know? But we have this carrot held out in front of us, you know? The more loving you are, the greater the connection with this realm where love is all we know. Wow. It's not a punishment. It's an enticement. And it's the greatest enticement I know. And it's awesome, because the more I respond with love to challenges, the greater the connection. The more love I feel, the more people around me respond. It's a beautiful way to live. And that's been the greatest silver lining for this tragedy our family experienced. But I had a woman I was doing a reading for, and I sensed her grandmother across the veil and nobody else. And she said, no, I don't have anybody else. That's who I want to hear from. And I said, okay, let's keep going. And I'm trying. I could tell Grandma was here. I could feel the presence, but I'm getting nothing. It was so frustrating till finally my client said, Well, I hear her all the time, but I just can't let myself believe it's her. And all of a sudden I hear my guide go ding, ding, ding. And I went, oh my gosh, I know what's going on here. She's here, but I'm not allowed to hear her because you're hearing her and it's your path to learn to trust she's with you. See, sometimes the spirit world does things so that we continue opening up the way we're supposed to. And that was a really amazing lesson to me. It was the fact that I could feel her, but you could tell grandma's just back there and she's not allowed to talk. Until her granddaughter finally says, yeah, I know it's you. She even admitted, her granddaughter said, I'm just very left brain. I have a real hard time wrapping my head around this spirit world thing. And I said, well, you better find a way to work on that because your grandmother's ready to talk to you. She's been trying. So then the second example of that just arrived in the mail earlier this week. And it was a letter from a beautiful shining light mom. I have to put my glasses on to read this to you. She says, thank you for the reading you did for me 2 years ago. I don't expect you to remember, but the reading did not go that very well. And I'm thinking, uh-oh. She said, I knew that the less than ideal connection with my son happened for a reason. I quickly went back and I said, I hope I didn't charge her for this. And I didn't. I'm so glad because I never do when a reading doesn't go well. She said later, I called it a 3-bar reading, just average. And I don't like average. I like 5-bar connections. So she said, I knew it happened for a reason. While my spiritual development was in the infant phases, I knew then Spirit was trying to tell me something, and I knew it was my job to find out why. Spirit did tell me that I would be checking back in with you to let you know the conclusion of the story, and I had no idea when that would be or what the answer would be. What a crazy feeling, right? I wrestled with that message for months. It was many reasons, and it sent me on an in-depth journey to find the answers and break down belief systems that have blocked my way. Spirit wanted me to do it for myself. My son wanted me to do it for myself. I even went so far as to take your mediumship course you offered online a few months ago. So I did, and I ended up writing this book and let my son create the story that I typed in automatic writing. So that was what she sent me, was the book that resulted from her own path and her own connection with her son. I thought long and hard about this. You know, I don't want this to become an excuse for any mediums that I ever teach. Well, I didn't get anybody today because you're supposed to get them yourself. It happens with divine perfection every once in a while, not that often. But I just want you to know how important your individual path is. So again, this passing of our kids is the worst thing that could happen to us, but sometimes it turns out to be such a blessing when we come to learn that they're still with us, and we grow so much as a result. I'm looking at the leaders of Helping Parents Heal, and they have all, I know to a person will tell you, they have been transformed by this journey. Would we all want our kids back? In a heartbeat. But it becomes this point where we just know what we know, and we know they're with us now, and we know for sure we'll see them in what will seem like physical form when we cross the veil. And in the meantime, it becomes so clear that every one of us, you included, have a purpose for being here. It's your task to find out what that is. And it doesn't have to be some huge spiritual thing and write a book, but you'll know the silver linings when you come to discover them. So let me see. I will let you know today I had a challenging day, and I did a reading for a Shining Light Mom this morning, and it was not good. It was like 2 bars, and I actually called it off because I felt gunk in me that had built up from last night, something that happened last night. I tried to clear it out, but I didn't. And I noticed stuff in me that is just not good for doing a reading. And I said to her, I know this is me. Can we meet again tomorrow? And she said, absolutely. And I'm feeling so good right now because I cleared out that gunk. And I can't wait to sit with that mom again and get it better. But you learn to be aware of what you're feeling and how your energy is, and be aware at all times of your thoughts and what you're radiating. So if anything, if I give you one takeaway this evening, it's how important your own energy field, self-care, self-love, self-nurturing as you go through grief and moving forward with your kids, how important that is. Okay, so I told you that I was going to share with you one full reading that I did, not in a video, but just I have the evidence from it. I did a repeat reading this last week for Mabel and CK Chan. Their son Leo crossed, I think 5 years ago now. I'm off a little bit, but I did a reading for them shortly after he passed, and I didn't realize that they had gotten back on my waiting list when I was doing repeat readings, and they just came up for their reading this week, and it was just beautiful to see them again, because I've had them in my classes, and we met in person when I went to Vancouver, Canada, and they're a lovely couple, but their son is their only child, and they have no doubt that Leo is still with them. This was kind of like doing Tracy Susie's repeat reading, because it's like, well, I know how Leo passed and I know what he feels like, so what's he going to tell us? Well, I'm sure he'll give us current events. So Mabel did a lot of work and went back over the reading and looked at some of the things that came up, and I just wanted to share a few of them with you to celebrate together how beautiful it is when we connect with our kids across the veil. So Leo passed from a sudden illness. I could feel him right away when he came through. He has a very distinct demeanor. He's so confident. He was a college student when he passed. And I said, Leo is sitting here ready for our meeting and he's pushing up a tie. He wore a tie for our reading. And I said, he's telling me that he was kind of like that, a little peculiar, even as a college student, that he would wear a coat and tie for things. And Mabel wrote to me that indeed, when he went to volunteer, I think it was in the mayor's office for the first day, he showed up in a suit and tie, and all of his fellow students were not dressed so well. So that's what I'm talking about, just little pieces of evidence that show personality. And I told them that I wasn't sure if I remembered this from our past reading, but he was very clearly showing me he would have made an incredible politician. But Leo would not have been one to take sides. He could debate either side of an issue, would have been a wonderful debater because he could see both sides. He was all about being an egalitarian, being equal, and they absolutely confirmed that. And then if you read my Facebook page, you saw this post the other day. He showed me some California connection, and they said, no, I don't know what that's all about. But then he showed me talking about everybody wanting to be equal. He showed me a part in the hair and changing the part over here. And I said, what are you trying to show me? And then he showed me his spiky hair. And I said, I know what he's doing. I'd seen pictures of Leo and he didn't have a part in his hair. And what he was showing me was, look at people who part their hair. If you have a part in your hair like mine has been here my entire life. Once in a while, I've looked to see what it looks like if I change the part, but it looks silly and I'm not going to do it. And he was using the analogy that he didn't have a part in his hair and he's just open to everybody. But people get so set in their ways, like the part in their hair, it never occurs to them to see things from other points of view. So he was advising all of us to at least imagine changing the part in our hair. I said, Mabel, you got to send me a picture of Leo with no part in his hair so I can put it on Facebook and share his message for all of us. What did she send me? A picture of him in a Southern California t-shirt. There's the California connection. But later on, he came through in that reading. He said his job now across the veil is influencing as many people on a big basis as possible to see other people's points of view. And he showed me a rainbow and said that the beautiful part about him being across the veil is instead of reaching people one-on-one or just in a talk before an audience, he, like a rainbow, can reach many aspects of humanity with this message. And look how he's reaching over 100 people right now with his message, just to let us know that those across the veil are trying to help influence our thoughts in those ways. Let's see. I'm looking at his evidence here. Oh, I said, Leo's telling me your house is way too quiet. He said you need to turn music on. You don't play music anymore. And he wants you to find a new kind of music to listen to. And they looked at each other and they said, you know, we used to play music all the time. And it's just gotten to the point where we forgot to do it. And we don't play it at all anymore. Well, Leo knows that. And certainly, you see, our kids want us to be livelier, to raise our vibration. And music does a beautiful job of that. And then he said, I didn't suffer, Mom. I didn't suffer. Now, I thought that was a strange message for Leo to give, because that came through in the first reading. Why would he still be telling his mom that several years later? Well, guess what? Mabel told me, because of all the coronavirus stuff going on, it has just brought back his illness and how he passed. And she's been feeling really bad lately, thinking about his illness and did he suffer? So once again, that shows how our loved ones are in our thoughts and want to comfort us. I hope that brings you comfort, because I love it. And then he said, I said, he's taking a broom and he's saying, Mom, just sweep those thoughts away. Sweep those thoughts away. Those across the veil, as you saw in that video, use economy of thought. He snuck in some evidence with that, because it turns out that Mabel just this week got out the broom and was sweeping, and she said she couldn't remember the last time she had the broom out. So that was actually delivering a message with a little bit of evidence thrown in. It was funny because I said, Leo's telling me that you still speak Chinese. One of you, I think it's the dad, speaks Chinese to him in your thoughts. And Dad said, yeah, I speak to him in Chinese. And I said, well, I want you right now to ask him a question in Chinese out loud. And so Dad asked the question, which I, of course, didn't understand at all. And the answer came back, and it was just beautiful and timely for both of them, which was very cool. Another confirmation about his compassion for all of humanity. He knew that his mom had written a book, which I didn't know her mom had, and that was very cool. And he showed me an image of a raised deck with the sun streaming through, and gave the message that basically it's a very peaceful thought when she has that. It reminds me of him. And Mabel says that happens quite often, that they do have this deck, the sun shines in, and instantly she knows that that's Leo. As far as a current event, I love this one. Leo showed me that his dad was having a little trouble walking. And in fact, he admitted he's had some lower back problems. Then Leo showed me hands-on healing and said, my hands are your hands, Mom. And it turns out that Mabel has been trying hands-on healing on CK's back and felt Leo's presence. And here's Leo showing he's sending energy through, oh, I got goosebumps, through Mabel's hands into his dad. How cool is that, huh? I mean, this stuff these are miracles, but they happen all the time, because the realities, their reality and our reality are this big web. It seems like magic, it seems special, but it's everyday occurrences. To them, this is their life. We just need to come to know that this is our life. We are part of our kids' lives. My friend Brenda Baker passed about, it's coming up on 2 years, and she's now my mediumship guide. She's so present with me. I just turn my head and she tells me things going on in our friend Lynette's life, just like that. She's closer than any of my family members have ever been. She says right now, because it's her job, that I'm stuck with her. But it's so cool, because just before this meeting started, I turned to her and I said, Brenda, I know you're here even now. And she says, of course I am. And I said, all right, give me the evidence. And she showed me Lynette stuffing a pillow into a pillowcase. I very quickly texted Lynette, and she had just done that today. Every single time. Brenda teaches an online class with me every Wednesday. She sits in the chair beside me. I ask her what's going on with Lynette. She tells me it's validated every time. Our kids are just as close. And why wouldn't they be? We're connected at the heart forever. You can't break those bonds. So I want to end with this other video, and hopefully I'll get it right this time. So I'm going to exit full screen. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to start the video. Then I'm going to pause it. There we go. Give me just a second while I'm doing this. Now I'm going to
I do feel
pause that, minimize the screen, go back here. And now I'm back here. Now I'm going to share the screen. Right, Brian?
Yes.
I think we got this. I think we got this. Okay, so this video, let me just set it up for you real quick, does not have a child across the veil. It's this woman's mother. Can you see me full screen, Brian? Or just my screen, right?
I see just you right now, not your screen.
Okay, good. So I was bringing through this woman's mother, and mom showed me that her daughter, my client, had just bought fresh flowers. She showed me that one of those flowers needed fixing and putting in the vase, just one. And the daughter said, yeah, one of the stems was broken. I had to pull it out and it was bent and I had to stick it back in. A very simple but clear piece of evidence of current event. So this little video clip shows you a beautiful thing that my client did for her mother that her mother knew about. I love this video, and then we'll talk about it when it's over. It's only about 1 minute long. So here we go.
Okay. And I do feel you have a pair of teacups that were your mother's.
I haven't got them, but I have got a pair of teacups that I made tea for my mum today. Here.
Oh, okay, I'll take that. Oh, look at that. She's just showing me, and it definitely was a pair. Okay.
One, and I didn't want to leave anyone out, so I put two there in case someone else was going to come.
Oh,
And I made a pot of tea because that's her favourite, and especially got the teacups out because she wouldn't have had it in a mug.
now look at that. It was so clear. This is the part about not needing perfection in a reading. She showed me two teacups, and they're mine, she said.
I know. I said I'm making tea for you, Mum, because I wanted to do what I would have done if she was coming with her earth suit on, and I would have made her tea and brought her the flowers.
Oh, and she brought up the fact that you just brought the flowers. So there we go.
That's the tea I did today. I made her tea and brought flowers.
Well, Mom sure knows about that. Oh, lovely. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Grandfather's just blowing you a kiss.
Yay. I love that. All right. Did that work? Did everybody see it?
I did. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
great.
I think it worked because I saw Ty wiping the little tear away. Yay. I just love that. You know, she said, I wanted to do something that I would have done for my mom if she'd been here in her earth suit. And that is how I want us all to think. I have had spirits come through and say, set a place for me at the table at Thanksgiving or at Christmas. I'll be sitting in it. And this is what my friend Brenda told me. She said, we are right here in the room with you. It's not just energy. We are right here. And this was the deep metaphysical thing Brenda said, because there is only here in consciousness. She said, this room that you're sitting in exists only in consciousness, in awareness. And so do we. So that's a little deep. But that's why we say there's only here. They're not off somewhere there that they have to come far away from. They're right here in your heart, in your consciousness, in your awareness. And we hold them in both places all the time, our kids, in our heart and in our awareness. So why wouldn't they be around? And they're as close as this. So that's my message for all of you tonight. And that's why I can smile. And that's why those who know this can smile. And my greatest desire is that all of you will smile again, knowing your kids see that. And it makes them so happy. So there you go.
Thanks, Suzanne. I know people are going to ask, how long is your waiting list right now?
I just asked my assistant, and I almost have it under 1,000 people. And I'm trying to do more readings every week, but that's why I've stopped the list. So I so apologize, but it's just because I have so many videos out there and so many books, more and more and more people are hearing about me. And it just hurt too much to say no to everybody. So for now, please check out the many videos that I keep putting up there. And lots of free stuff that I try to offer all the time. And I just put online the Journey of Remembrance on YouTube. Go to Suzanne Giesemann, Journey of Remembrance. It is the most powerful, peaceful experience, meditation, whatever you want to call it, that I have ever experienced myself, spontaneously channeled, as was the music. It is beautiful. And it'll give you an idea of what your kids are experiencing, the peaceful environment they're in. And check out the Messages of Hope documentary and my weekly radio show, all of this designed to help you on your path. That's what we were talking about. It's all about your path.
Thank you, Suzanne. Do you have time for a couple of questions?
If you do, I'm all yours.
Well, one question I did want to ask you, you brought it up when you were saying that you were feeling gunk today. And I think a lot of us are in that situation right now. How did you clear that gunk out?
Today?
Yeah, you said you're feeling gunk today, and I think we're all feeling.
Yeah, I did my 10-minute transformation video. I have on my website, if you go to the bottom, there's a footer on the homepage, on every page, a gray footer. And on the left is resources. And one of those resources is free meditation gifts. And the top one is Journey of Remembrance. Then there's a couple other things, but a little farther down is the 10-minute transformation. And that's a chakra clearing thing. And then I just called them my guides and I said, I need help. Whatever's blocking me up, take it away, take it away, take it away. And I just felt this pop. And it was just like, huh. I mean, earlier, half an hour ago, I was just blah. I had to take a nap early in the day. That's just not me. And it just went like that. But I spent years getting to the point where I can clear myself like that. All kinds of tools. Also, a recent YouTube video I put up, it's one of the most recent. So if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see it. It's a webinar I just did with several tools for finding, it's called Coronavirus and Beyond. And the and beyond part is because it contains 4 very practical tools for finding peace and balance right away, and a guided meditation that was spontaneous, and another one really beautiful to help you get to know who you really are, which is what the whole path is all about.
All right, great. Thank you very much. All right, well, Suzanne, that was wonderful. I know you're crazy busy, so we really appreciate you being here and sharing what you did with us tonight. It always lifts everybody up so much, so thank you very much.
Well, the busyness is only because I keep getting insights of how to share more of this and help more people, because I just love feeling the lift in the energy of all of you this evening. But you know, it's not just me, it's the energy, but it's you, it's all of us coming together. We as a group, as our lights shine brighter, we help each other. And so I thank all of you for bringing your energy to this. And thank you guys, all of you who host this. Your sacrifice and your time is a gift.
All right, anybody have any closing thoughts? I don't know if Elizabeth is still with us. Yeah, she's still there. All right, well, Suzanne, again, thank you very much. I'm going to say good night. I'm going to unmute everybody so everybody can say thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Suzanne.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.